Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at how to create this particular dashboard I have on my screen. So I have actually created the first and the second part, which is actually optional. You don't have to take a look at those ones except you want to learn what we have done there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So over here in the previous video, we have actually created this particular part of the dashboard that is actually very dynamic, and you are going to learn a lot about DAX in this particular dashboard. So you don't necessarily need to watch this to actually create this very one right here, right? And I'm going to show you how to get all of those charts here created. They are some kind of little bit customized, not a default chart in Power BI. I'm going to show you how everything here is done. And as well, this particular tooltip here, we're going to look at how we got it done. This time around, you should have gotten the file downloaded to your system. Unzip it and you're going to find this particular PDF. So when you scroll down the PDF, you will find dashboard 2. Under the second dashboard, we are going to be dealing with customer analysis. If I scroll down a little bit now, you can see we have covered topics like this 1, 2, and 3. On that first one, it says customer demographics and sales distribution. And under it, we are going to actually use DAX to calculate the total number of customers and average revenue per customer. So secondly, we're going to actually look at revenue distribution by country and key statistics on buyer type. All right. So on the second part of it, we're going to look at revenue by demographics, which is breakdown of revenue by gender and age group. We have to be some kind of very, creative right here on how we display this on our dashboards. Let us go to the third one where it says geographical insights. So we're going to highlight the revenue share from top 2 countries. So those are the things we're going to actually get ourselves involved with. And if you have the file already, open it and let's do it. To get started, let us look at the measures we're going to use. They are basic measures for a start. So if I open calculations here, over here I have this folder named measures 01 and I have it open. This is the first one you need to take a look at. Right here we're doing actually the extent count to count the numbers of customers that we actually have, which is very simple to actually create. Just go ahead and create something like this. We are counting the numbers of customers in the fact table, not in the customer table. Note that down. Okay, next again is actually going to be the average right here. So here we have an average. So we are trying to look at what is the average of revenue per customer. And to do that, we just use the divide function, divide the total revenue by the numbers of customers. So this was what I've shown you previously. And this is the basic measures you need to actually write for the first time. So next we look at the total revenue, which is very simple. It's actually the aggregation between 2 tables using the iterator function called SUMX and a related function that actually reconnects 2 tables together, the drug lookup and the fact table itself. So you see that? Pretty simple, right? So if you don't want to go to the first video with this I've shown you now, we are ready to go. So go ahead and create those measures. After creating those 3 basic measures we need to get started with, so we're going to get the new card. Over here, if I have this particular place open, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here you have this particular one here that is called new card. I'll bring it in. So with this one here, I'm going to actually have to make it this way, and I'll bring in my numbers of customers into it. So now I'm going to bring in my average, and my total revenue itself will be right here. Okay, I have this now. So for the average revenue, I might want to take a look at this. So we have not actually put this at 0. So we have to make it at 0 so that we can remove the extra decimal places we have on it. Okay, with that done, we are actually good to go right now, but not really good to go. But for the time being, we are going to just keep this right here and create for others. Okay. All right, this is what we are trying to achieve, mostly this particular part. All right, this is not what is actually available as a default in Power BI to get a chart like this created. So we have it as a chart, as a default chart, but for we to customize it the way it looks right now, we need to write some measures, and they are pretty simple measures in case you don't know. Okay, let me show you the default chart available and how they show up when you use measures and dimension on them. Okay, right here we have this. I'm going to go over here and just hit this particular table right here, and over there I want to put in my customer gender right into it. So here we have the gender in, and if I open this particular part here, let's go to this particular part, and I'm going to bring in my revenue. So this revenue shows up in tables. So I want to convert it to a chart, and the chart should be this particular do not chart right here. And once I've done that, this is what I say. If I want to say something, if I make it a little bit smaller, it will be very hard for you to read and for you to differentiate between the male, the female, and the other, right? So if I want to make it to look pretty, I would have to make sure it occupies a lot of space. So for that, we can control this chart by creating 3 different charts, just like what you have seen previously, and make it look awesome. Okay, what do we do for the first time? So I'm going to keep this over here. Okay, for the very first time, what we can do right now is to create our first measure for it. And the first measure we want to create is to actually know what is the total revenue for every single gender, male, female, and even other genders. Okay, I'm going to right click here, then go over to new measure. So once I have actually clicked on new measure, I want to create my revenue for the male gender. I'm going to say male revenue equals. So for male revenue now, we're going to actually change the filter context right now using the calculate function. The calculate function, I'll bring in my total revenue right in here, comma, and now to change that to filter it, we're going to filter it down by the gender. So type in gender, I have this right here. So put an equal sign and say where it is equal to male. Here we go. We just go ahead and hit the enter key. And this is all you need to do. So before we go further, let me show you something over here. Okay, let's close this, go through here. And now here is what we are using, this particular column. And if you look at it, it's from the customer table right in here. So you should understand that. So if we go back right now, we can now see that inside our measure, it appeared that it is actually from customer table, and we have a column in that table called gender. And what you need to study very well, because sometimes you might have M representing male, F representing female, and O representing other. So you should actually take note of that as well. So going back right now, we have actually done that. And if we bring it into a card, it's going to look like this. So it's not really looking nice at all, but I love it this way. I can just go ahead and actually format it. So click on the measure you have actually created and use the dollar symbol for it. You can use Naira, you can use Ghana cedis, you can use, pounds or any currency symbol you want to use it all. So over here, I'm going to keep this right here. So once we have this here now, it is time for we to create the percentage that is actually peculiar to the male gender. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is to actually go ahead and create a new measure. So with my new measure here, I'm going to just do percentage male revenue. So equals. So we have a function to be used, or we can use the operator. But right now, I am going to use a function called divide. So with the divide function, you always divide the smaller value by the bigger value. So that is going to be our male, what is it? Okay, our male revenue, we divide that by our total revenue. So you get the logic now. So people would ask me, how do I know which one to bring first in the two measures? So the male is always going to be the smaller value, and this one will be the bigger value. That is just the logic you can actually use to actually remember which one should come first when you want to create the percentage, right? Okay, once you have done this, you hit the enter key, and that is all you need. So you can provide an alternate result in case there is some kind of division by 0. You can put a comma right here, and you can see where it says alternate result, and you can put 0 right in here. It's actually optional. So if I have to do that, I would have to bring my 0 down over here, and that is a pretty good formatting techniques. Okay, we have gotten this created, and the next thing we're going to do right now is to convert this to a percentage, which is going to be without a decimal places. So I'm going to do 0 right here to remove the decimal places we have right on it. Okay, I want to look at what I've done physically on a card. And over here, I have 47%. So good and fine, we have this 47%. So we want to see what is going to remain if we subtract 47% from the 100%. So we want to create the measure for that. So let us do the measure first. So now we create a new measure. So we want to create this very short measure name as possible. So R for remainder, and over here I'm going to put male, and I'm going to put my equals right here. So for 100%, we cannot do 0, 0 and 100%. So already you can see we have the red underlining the percentage because it does not really expect it. So for that, I'm going to remove this. For me to actually put my 100% right here, I'm going to do 1.0 in a decimal form and actually subtract my percentage from it. So the percentage is going to be for male revenue, and that is what you need to do. If I hit my enter right now, that would actually create the remainder for 100% from 47%. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and actually convert this to a percentage. And from here, I'll take off this. Though it's not really important because we're going to show that. So, but I just love to do that for Martin. So I'm going to bring this over here. So this is what you have. So if you actually add this to this particular male revenue here, it's going to give you 100%. So it is time for we to actually create the chart we really want to create, which is very, very important. That is why we're here. Okay, to get it created right now, all we're going to do is to come over to this particular chart, pick it up. So now the chart is blank. We do not need to put in the dimension, which is male, female, and orders right in here. What we just need to do right now, we need to actually fill the values with just 2 measures. And the first measure we're going to bring into here is the remainder right in here, which is this one here. So we have this, as you can see, it's giving us 53%, right? And the next thing again is going to be the male revenue. Oh, sorry, not the revenue, the percentage rather. Percentage here. And this is what we have right now. So once you have done this, you need to identify where is your male and where is your female. So looking at this right now, this particular part covers what is remaining when you subtract 47% from 100, while this particular color here signifies your 47%. So for that, we are going to actually come over here now. So now we are here. Then we want to turn off the tally belt from it. So we have something like this. Before we actually shut the legend off, so we want to take up, bring up this, and over here for the remainder, I want to choose something like this particular color right here. Quickly, nice. So let's do something that will be visible. We're going to change the color later after all, but for now, let's just do something like this. I'm going to come over here and choose this particular color. So over here, I can turn off the legend and turn off the title, and I have something like this. I would still love to go ahead and use this. So we'll have something like this. So can you see it now? And this particular percentage I have right here can actually be cleaned up and bring into it. So just go ahead and do 20, for example. Okay, 20 looks pretty fine. I think so. So let's do 25, for example. Okay, this is cool. We can just make this a bit smaller and bring it into here and go over to this particular part. What the heck is it? Oh, it's there. So we just go ahead and turn off the background. And this is what we have. So it has sent the percentage behind because we have what? Because we actually have background on this. It's not going to show up. So we need to quickly go ahead and turn off this background off. Okay, now we've turned off the background and this is what it looks like right now. So we have to replicate the same thing for our female and for orders. So to replicate it is very, very easy. And all you have to do is to just click over this one right here and actually click on this. Oh, do you have to do this first? No, actually, let's go with this particular revenue. And over here, we do Ctrl+C to copy and we just click over here and we just paste in what we have actually copied in the new measure we have created. This is what we have. So all we have to change from here is actually female. And once we have done that, we come over here and change this one to female, and we hit the enter key. So we have just gotten this done for the first time. Then we go over to the percentage that is what is next. So go over here, copy, and create a new one. Now we can paste this one here and change this one to female. And instead of us looking at male right here, why don't you put FE? And this is what we have to do to get it done. And quickly, for the last time, we just want to go over to this particular male remainder here, click on it and copy exactly what we have here and just paste it down. We have to recycle through the docs we have written before. Paste it. And that is all you have to do. Quickly, in few seconds, we're done with it. And if you have to do this, now we just have to click over here and just go ahead and do copy and actually paste it down. And we bring this somewhere around here. Then quickly, we have to actually change what we have here. Click over here now. And over here, we're just going to go ahead for this one, so which will not match so well. So click over here and bring up this particular percentage we have right here. And what else you need to do is to go over here now and change this particular one. So hover over this and look at the tooltip to see what you have right here. The R and female. So that is the color. We go ahead and change this one. And this is what we're going to use. And over here, we want to change this particular color right now. So we click over here and let's just go with something like this for the time being because we have our own custom color. So we have done this, and the next thing you have to do is to actually copy the percentage and put it right here and change exactly the percentage you have for female. So this is all you need to do. All right. You might find difference right now because behind the scene, I have actually created the orders and actually brought in some figures, which is actually these figures, this one and this one. Those are the figures that are some kind of peculiar to the percentages. So if I click on this right now, we both created this together, and that is going to be this particular one right here. And if you want to look for the one that is peculiar to the others, this is what we have for other. And for female, you can actually check the female one out, which is this particular one right here. So we brought it in. Okay, one other thing we need to adjust right now is the size, or is it the whole size? The whole size or the spacing. So if I click on this and click on this here and actually click on this by holding my control key for the first time, I will just go over to here, then go over to slices and go to spacing. So if you look at the spacing here, it's on 60. Let us do it at 76 right here. This is what you see. So you do not see now we have it to look more beautiful than what it was before. Okay, one other thing we need to adjust. The space here is too wide compared to the space we have right here. So we need to actually work on that. So very simple, hold your control key to select all of them at the same time, right? So once you have done that, go over to format right here and you go to this particular align and you distribute horizontally. And that will give you equal spacing, right? So we have what? We have our, call it for me, revenue by gender, which is the name right here, which shows that, yes, this is what we're talking about. But right now we need to set this one into the center of this very one here. And just like that, we have everything we want. So this is exactly what you should actually replicate because it's absolutely the most simplest part of the dashboard that you should know how to create. About the color, I've told you, don't worry about it. We are going to change the colors later after all, once we brought our background in here. But for now, you need to know this right away. All right, I have this particular blank chart right here that we need to actually put in what we call revenue by age group. But wait a minute, let's go to our table view and take a look at our customer table. So over here, we only have the age. We do not have the age group. So do you want us to use DAX or you want us to use Power Query? Which one is faster? I think Power Query will do the work in a very snappy way without you writing a single code to do that. Let's go to Power Query. click back on home and come over here and go to transform. And I believe you must have actually gotten the data imported already. Then let's do it. Over here, we have the customer table. If you look at here, we have the customer age, right? So with the customer age, all we have to do right now is to click on add column. Then from add column, we click on conditional column. So over here, I'm going to add like 3 of it here and add another one. So we have 4 of them here. Over here, I'm going to just say age group. So for age group, I'm going to select my age here, the age column as well here. We select the age column. We select the age column. So over here, instead of us using when it is equals, so we want to use when it is less than or equal to. When it is less than or equal to. We do the same thing over here. And finally, we select when it is less than or equal to. So we're going to do 20 here. So when it is less than or equal to 20, we want to do 0 to 20. So over here, we're going to do 30. That is like 10 interval, right? So we do 30. Then this one now will be 21 to 30, right? So over here, we do 40. So we do 31. We do to 40. And over here, we're going to do 50. And right here, we're going to do 41 to 50. And finally, on this one, we're going to say 51 plus. So that is going to be 51 plus. So if I put 51 plus like this, it's not going to show up. But let us try it and see if this would show up. We want to see the plus right here like this. Without even space, we want to see a plus like this. So let us click on OK and see what would happen. So it's going to give us something very weird because it's giving us as a number, while this one adds some kind of text, right? So to re-edit this and make sure you have exactly what you want, what you need to do right now is to come over here and select this particular settings icon. So we're back right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put plus like this. Right? I'm going to click on OK. So we both have all of them as a text right away. So I'm going to convert this as a text, normal text. Okay. If I want to use that plus I've actually put right before now, what I'm going to do right now is to right click on this particular part right here, and I'll come over to replace values. So once I click on replace values, I'm going to put the plus right in here, and over here, I'm going to replace that with a plus. Remember, this is actually case sensitive. If your letters are capital letter or uppercase, you must make sure over here is matching what you have right here. Then we'll click on OK. Oh no, what is going on? It seems not working. Okay, let's see. If I go back to replace value here, I want to replace that with 51 plus to 50 plus. Let's do 51 plus like this. Let's see if this is gonna happen. Okay, that doesn't happen. So what I'm gonna do right now is to click here and see what I have here. I have this plus here, of course. So why is it not working? I'm gonna remove everything from here now. So to change type, I'm gonna remove the change type I have here. So for the next time, let's try it again. Over here, let me go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm gonna put a space over here. Then click on OK here to put that space in. So once I have that space in, right click over here and say replace values. So now I'm gonna actually find plus. Oh, sorry, the mistake was mine. I really flopped a lot, 100%. I agreed. So what I did was where I was supposed to find plus, I was actually replacing plus right there. So right here, I'm supposed to find something like this. And over here, I'm gonna put in this plus symbol and click on OK. And that should have been like this for me, but I flopped it. So I don't need to have a space on it. So if you want to take off the space right now, you can do that. Or you can actually come over here and say, find the space and replace it with the space. Okay, now can you see the magic? It has been done 100%. So we now have this right here. And all we have to do is to just go over here and say close and apply. And you're going to see a new column coming over here right now. And that is the column we're going to use. Cool. You see that? This is exactly what it is. So if you look at everything you have right here, they are under plus because we have them to be above 50 or within 50 range. So if I scroll down where we start having some variation now, you can now see that this is what is giving us this. Let's go back right here right now. So we're right here, and the next thing we're going to do is to click over to our data. And first of all, I'm going to get in my total revenue from, let's calculation here. We want to go over here and we go over to revenue. So let's open calculation up. So we open this measure. So we go over for total revenue. We have the total revenue right in here. So once we have done that, we got in our total revenue. So we want to go ahead and close this. Then we go ahead and take the age group we've just created and bring it right in here. Okay. So if you look at it, we just want to work with this x-axis here. For the x-axis, we want to change the color of the x-axis. So now here we go. We have something like this. So you can actually make sure you use a bolder font like this one here appears so much better than the one we have seen previously. Something like this would be very much cool. So this is what we want to see. And we want to turn on the data label for it. So click over here and make sure the data label has been turned on. So over here, we have the data label turned on. We want to go ahead and change the color of the data label to match what we can see for the current time being. So we go ahead with something like this color here. So now we have it. Okay, if you look at it right now, what we want to map out is actually looking at what are the two age groups with the highest, revenue, and we want to see what is the percentage contribution we have for those particular two age groups. And we can see it physically, it's actually this particular 50 plus and 31 to 40. And this changed over time based on what we have actually selected on our filter. Right now, if you look at it, it will actually change right away. So now it depends on the filter we have clicked on currently, right? So what we're going to do right now is to actually make sure we write actually, what do I call it? Well, we write a measure that extract this particular one and this one for us, just because that measure would actually find out if truly this has the highest and this has the second highest. We want to see the names so that we can use the name on our caption, just to make things easy for the end users. Before we go into the next one, the measures we have written previously for those particular one above right here, we want to put them inside a folder. And I think I should show you how to do that in case you've never seen me done that before. So over here, let's click on this particular model view. And once we have done that, let us come over to this particular part here. This is what we're going to use. But before then, let us look at the measures we want to include. So if I do everything like this looks very clean, right? What if I open this particular calculations down? So you can see there are some measures. How do you identify measure? You identify measure like this. Look at this particular, something that looks like calculator, symbol. So those are your measures. So which means everything that is looking like that is a measure. So I'm going to hold my control key to select everything that has that particular symbol like this here. Okay. Now select. We want to select here, select this one, and finally we select this one. We have actually gotten all of them selected. Okay. Once you have done that, come over here to display folder and actually say, let's say custom charts, and hit your enter key, and that will create a folder for you called custom chart. So if I want to put measure on it, I'm going to put right here measures and hit my enter key, and that will definitely update it for me. Okay, let's go over here and take a look at the new look we have. So now we can compress everything, and once we have it opened, we can compress this and it gives us this. We can do this. Now we have everything on their own individual folder. This is what you should do to organize all your measures in a single folder, but specifically if that measure is tailored to a particular visual. For you to actually have easy edits, just put a measure in the folder so that you can click on the particular measure, have it opened, and make changes to it without you looking for like crazy. Okay. All right, the next thing we want to achieve is this particular part of the visual right here. So we have gotten this one already achieved. So if you look at the top right here, we have a little information that actually buttress what we have on the visual itself. It says 70.8% of revenue share is attributed to 51 plus and 31 to 40 age group. Look at that. That is crazy. So this can actually help you in the board meeting. So how do we actually create this? We need to write the measure. Okay, let's quickly go back to where we're actually creating this from. So we are right here. The first thing to understand is going over to the table view, and let me show you this particular age group right here, because this is what we're going to be using, right? So to do it again, let's go back to this view, and over here, I'm going to right click and create a new measure. Those measures would be outside all my folders. So I would have to place those measures in a different folder later after all. Okay, this measure can be a little bit tedious, not that tedious or that complicated, but you have to pay attention to this. So I'm going to do top to age group. Okay, I can use names, right? So I should have done the same thing like this. Okay, once we have done something like this, we quickly need to create a variable. And you all know what var is all about. So variable now, I'm going to store in something inside here. Then later after all, we can reuse it inside the same measure, but we cannot use it outside the measure. All right, what do we need to do? I'm going to say this variable should be named top to age group. So I'm putting my equals here. Then inside here, I'm going to use a function called TopN. So with the TopN here, we're looking for the top 2 age group. And to get a top 2 age group right now, we need to use the all function. The all function, in my previous videos, I've explained the reason why we're using the all function was to remove filter and so that we can be able to compare one age group to the other and it will return the actual one we actually want. That is fun. So try to learn it. All right, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to say, okay, where is my age group setting that I want to remove something from? I'll just type in here, age, and I'll bring in my age group right in here. Go ahead and close it and hit a comma right here. And for the expression, how do we want to return this? We want to return this by a particular measure, and that measure is called total revenue, which is this particular one. So once we have done this, we go ahead and close our open bracket. Okay, we have gotten this done very simple and easy. So we need to create another variable right now. So this variable should be called result string. Result string. Why result string? We are not trying to return values. We want to return text. So for that, I'm going to say result string. You can call it anything. So with the result string right here, I'm going to use concatenate x. Concatenate x here. So with the concatenate x right here, I want to use my top. So underscore top age groups here. So comma. So going down, we want to actually use our word. So when we look at the expression it's actually asking for right now, for the expression, we want to think like, what do we want to actually retrieve? We want to retrieve the age group, right? So right now we want to concatenate 2 age groups together, like 50 to 50 plus and 31 to 40 or whatever. So to do that, we just look for our age group again. So when we get the age group, we want to actually create some kind of, what should I call this? A delimiter between them. So this delimiter is what we want to create between them. And to do that now, let's put in a comma right here. And it's asking for a delimiter. That delimiter should be something that looks like this. You get it now? This is the delimiter we want to create. So I'm going to put my comma and it's actually asking for order by. And over here, I'm going to order it by the same age group like this here. And I go ahead and do this. So the next thing right now is to create a return. So when we return this now, we return our result string here. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the enter key. So this time around, we should have what we are looking for by doing this. Let's quickly go over and take a look at what we have gotten. as a result. So what are we expecting first? We are expecting to see this because this is the highest, and the second highest should be 31 to 40. So let's try it. I'm just scared. Oh goodness, this is what it is. So now why is it returning this first? It's returning 31 to 40 and 50 plus or whatever. I don't have any idea about that, but I just know we should be able to return the first one that has the highest value. So what can we do about that? So I want to return this one first. It will be 51 plus, and the 31 to 40 should come next, right? So let's go back here. So what do we do now? If I scroll all the way down over here, let's come over here. If I put my comment right now, it's asking me, how do I want to order this? I want to order this by ascending or descending. We choose descending and we hit our enter key. And this will definitely change the whole narration for us. Okay, let's see the results. Oh, nicely done. So this is what it is. And the thing is this, why do we have this particular ampersand right here? That is crazy. We shouldn't have it. So what are we supposed to have right there? Should be maybe just a space. Just a space? Oh, what if we use text? We can use text and go over here to make it look cool now. Under this particular part, let us use and. I think this would be well more understood by just using that particular and they look crazy. Okay, let us take a look at it again. Okay, this is some kind of cool than what we have used previously. Is 51 plus and 31 to 40. So after we might have gotten this done, this is the first step to doing what we want to achieve. I'm going to keep it right here somewhere around here. And the next thing right now is for we to create the percentage that is peculiar to this particular 51 plus and 31 to 40, right? All right, let us create the part of the percentage we're talking about. Something very simple. It's not complicated at all. So right click and go ahead and create a new measure. So we have percentage of top two age groups right in here. So the very function to use is this particular first function called divide. This divide helps us to actually just filter the top two, which is what we are looking at physically right now. But this time around, we are not trying to return the names, but the values, and use that to construct our percentage. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to use the top n we've used previously, top n here. So the top n should return the top two. And once we have done that, it's going to ask us for the table. But the table right now should be the age right here. And that would be our age group. Age group. So if I type age group here, it's not coming out. That was because I've not used the all function. With the all function now, we can now bring in our age group right in here. Go ahead and close it and do a comma. And now we go down the next line. So the next thing now is actually ordered by expression. And this should actually be our what? Be our measure. So that is going to be the total revenue right in here. So the next one, which is optional because we're not even trying to display this. So could actually be trying to look at this ascending or descending. Oh, sorry, it's very important. So we just go by descending over here. Let's go over and bring it down for nice formatting. Okay, what do we do? Sorry, I will see an error, but that is not going to be something bad. We stupidly hit the enter key at the wrong R. So here we go. Now we can do this. And here we have this done. Okay, so I think this would actually give you confusion. Let me take off all of this right here. So what I'm going to do right now, after I placed my comma right here, it's asking me if I want to ascend it or descend it. So I will just go right here I'm going to choose this particular one here. So once I've done that right now, I'll have to close this, right? So once I have it closed, for my division, I'll put a comma. So I'm going to actually divide this by something, right? So now if I have my comma here, this one closes this one, then I'm going to bring in here my total revenue again. So total revenue to get my percentage. And finally, I close my divide. I hit my enter key. That will actually give me a percentage that is actually peculiar to those particular two extracted age groups. Okay, let us go ahead and take a look at what we have done physically. I'm going to bring it into here. Then we'll take a look at it together. So this is crazy. It's already giving me an error. So what the heck is going on? Let us find out right here. So we are back here right now. The very first thing we did here was to do this because we are trying to actually pull the values down to here. So it's not actually working for us. So what can we do? I'm thinking, okay, what if I use an iterator function over here? I'm going to go down. So using the sum x right here. So with the sum x, I can say sum x because this one will actually bring a table, right? So we sum it together. So once we have it summed, so the next thing now should be, we close this. We've closed this. And if I put on that comma right here, right now, okay. Oh, no, this has to be from the scratch. I can do it, but I want you to understand everything from the scratch. So I'm so sorry. It happens to me like this, even if I work alone. So I get confused somewhere. I have to take it off all totally for me to get started again. So first of all, I use the divide function. Then once I've done that, I'm going to use the sum x function. The sum x function as an iterator. So I want to actually sum through this particular top n here. We want to extract the top two. And the top two will be looking for what? We'll be looking for a table. And this table right now, we bring in all to remove filter from it. So we bring age and we'll bring in the age group right in here. We now close this. What do we close? We close our all function. So we put a comma right here and it's actually looking for how do we order this. So we bring in the total revenue in here. And with the total revenue, how do we want to make this happen? So we want to bring this by descending. Descending means from the highest. When we do ascending, it brings it from the lowest value, right? So once we have gotten this done, we go ahead and close this and hit a comma. It's actually asking for expression. The expression is actually for the sum x. If you look at it right now, first of all, we were asked to provide a table for the sum x. The table now is now grayed out. It's not actually looking like this one again, which means everything we have right here to this end is actually our table. So now when we place the comma right here, it's asking for expression, and that expression should actually be the total revenue right now. So we did all of this for what? We did all of this for the sum x. We have not done anything for the divide function we have right here. If you really understand DAX very well, you will know that this particular divide function has not played any role. So now for this divide function to play a role right now, this particular part return value, and this value is only peculiar to the top two age groups, right? And now they're going to be some kind of small value compared to the holistic value that is this particular total revenue right here. So what do we do next? So we go ahead and close our sum x. The sum x is being closed right now. So let us move to the divide function. We'll put a comma right here. And for the divide function, we divide by the total revenue again. This might sound crazy, but go ahead and study what we have done right here. You can now see how the function actually moved from the divide to the sum x to the top n to the all and everything we have right here. Okay, let us rephrase this and look at what works here. So the divide function right here is trying to create a percentage between this particular table here that returns a value, right? And this particular part here is a value. This value, we actually branch out from total revenue. We actually change the filter context to only calculate this particular part here, calculates only for the top two age groups, which will be smaller compared to this one. And if I go ahead and hit my enter key right now, then quickly go ahead and actually format this to a percentage number formatting. We can now see the percentage. Let's do this. I believe this time around it has worked. So it's working on it. Let's take a look at it. So now we have 69.28%, which means it works 100%. This is it. So when you encounter problems, even though if you're actually some kind of 20 to 30% away from your achievement, and you'll be like, this had been going for hours, you couldn't solve it. The best thing I always do, I'm talking about myself, not about you, but if you can adopt that, I promise you 100% it will be good for you. Let's say I've gotten to this particular end here and I'm very close to my end result. I found out a particular mistake that I cannot really fix easily. I would love to delete everything from the scratch. I will start all over again. I'll delete everything I've done from the scratch and I will start all over again. That was what I've done over here. Actually wipe everything away to restart so that you can understand it, you watching it at your computer. So that is exactly what we need to do. Now we achieve this. How do we fix this right here to make a lot of sense? That is the next thing we have to do right now. The next thing now is for we to bring up this text box here. So we have the text box in here. So all I'm going to do right now is to actually do, let me just some kind of put the text box until 16, right? Okay, now for the text box, I want to bring in my percentage first. Like this one here should be brought forward. So go over here that says value, click on the value part, right? And what we're going to do right now is to actually type this particular name here, this very measure name. So I'm going to bring in my percentage first and top two into it, age group. So it's not case sensitive. So just wait for it. It's going to actually pop out the measure right here, right now. Give it some time. So if it doesn't, make sure you hover over it and check if it is correct or not. So percentage top two age group. So we're supposed to have it right in. So let us click on the arrow. And now we have it right here as a percentage, which actually correlates with what we have right in here. Go ahead and click on OK. So now we have this, right? I can just go ahead and do, let's take it to 16 so that we can see, or 18, we can see what we are doing so clearly. So now we have this right here. I'll put a space on it. So I'm going to say of revenue, share is attributed to, now it is the part of this very one right here right now. So click on the value again. And now we go over to top to age group name. So we click this here and that will give us these results, and we'll go ahead and click on this. So we have all we want. So do Ctrl A to now give it the formatting you want. Let us go with 18 and see what 18 looks like. 18 looks just like this. This is beautiful. Okay, so I can now bring this a bit down here now. So let's keep this over here. So keeping it over there, I will just do something like this. Okay, let's do something like this. On this particular part, you can actually make sure this one is bold to stand it out from the rest. So do the same thing to this one. How can you highlight it? It might be difficult for you to highlight. It's very easy for you to highlight text, but over here, it will not highlight. Place a cursor here, or place a cursor over here and where you have to. Use your arrow that is going to the right to shift it. Now you hold your shift key and the arrow to the right hand corner will definitely do this for you, highlight. So Ctrl B to bold it and you have something like this. You know, I told you that our color will be determined by the background we're going to use. But for now, let us go with something like this. This is actually cool just for now. Okay, I'm going to get off this one from here. Get this one off. We don't need to keep it, and we don't need to keep this one. And finally, we have to get this one off because we have just used that as an experiment. All right, we have something a little bit clean right now. We need to look at what is next. All right, next on our list is actually this particular part right here, where we actually create something that looks similar to this very one, but a bit different because of the chart we have used. The same measure, the same concept. So let us take a look at what we're going to do to have it done. Over here, we have the previous one. If I click over this place right now, you can see I'm going to select a table called the fact table, which is a transactional table. And we have a column called buyer type. In the buyer type, we have just two things, seller and the user of our drugs that we sell. Okay, now what can we do? We have to actually get individual total revenue, create a percentage and the remainder, and actually create the kind of chart we need to create. So let's come over here. Now we're here. So we are going to create a measure. I'm going to right click right here to create a new measure. So my new measure is ready. We don't have to do too much. We just have to actually type in here user revenue like this. So the user revenue is nothing but using the calculate function to actually branch out from the whole total revenue to just the user one. So I'll just do total revenue here. We'll change the filter context by actually bringing in type. So if I type in type, it brings it up from the table where it is. And I'm just going to say user. And over here, we close and we hit our enter key. This will definitely create the total revenue generated by users. So don't forget to actually do your number formatting choosing any of the currency symbol you want to use. Okay, once you have done this, I can just go ahead and copy this. Let me create two of them at the same time. Go ahead and actually add a new measure. This time around, we have actually created for user. Let's see if we do this for reseller. Oh, is it seller or reseller? Okay, it is seller. So here we go ahead and do seller. And we do the same thing here. All right, that is all we have to do. I'm not sure if this is correct. Our spelling should be very correct. Let's say, okay. I'm not sure if this is correct. Our spelling should be very correct. Let's go over to this particular view and take a look at the table that is involved to get it done. Over here, we have user and we have the seller, which is 100% correct. So no issues. So once we have gotten those two measures created, the next thing now is for we to create the percentage that is peculiar to each measure. So go ahead and add another measure right here. So it's like we're repeating what we have done previously, and it's very easy. So now I'm going to type in percentage of user, and quickly what I do is to do divide here, and over here I'm going to bring in the user divided by the total revenue, and that gives us what we're looking for. That is all. We have just gotten the percentage created. So what is next? We need to create the remainder, right? Okay, it's very important for we to actually format this one to a percentage. And as well, we want to take off the extra two decimal places we have right on it by putting 0 over this particular part right here, then hit your enter key. So I have one other measure to create. So I'm going to actually add a measure right here. So on this particular measure right now, you know what we've done in the previous one. I'm going to put R for remainder into this particular measure part right here. And that was going to be for user, which we have actually created its percentage, right? So once I have done this right now, I'm going to put an equal sign right here. And what I'm going to do is to say 1.0, which is a decimal for percentage 100. So we subtract our what? Our user from it, user percentage like this here, and we hit our enter key. That is all we have to do. So let me show you how we now created our chart that you have seen previously. Okay, to get the chart created right now, we have to bring in this particular type of chart. This very one here. Sorry, this very one, which is this one that says stacked bar chart. So we are using stacked bar chart. And here on the x-axis, the very first thing I'm going to bring in is actually going over here and bring in my user here as a percentage. So secondly, I will actually add another one. So if I click on add, I'm going to add this over here, the percentage that is remaining. So I have something that looks like this. So if you can see, it starts from 0 and it ends in 100%. That was what we have created, right? So what am I going to do? I just need to actually clear everything from here. I don't need any of the axes. So we turn off the title, we turn off the legend for it, the title, and what else? So now, if you look at the x-axis here, we need to actually go ahead and turn off the value for the x-axis. We don't need to keep it. That is what we need to do. So now we have something as clean as this, and we can make it as smaller as we actually want. So this is what we need to do. And after all, we can bring in all the percentages and the values that are peculiar to all of them and bring them right in here. That is what we have just done. And I believe you can actually do the next one. Let's see. All right. I have just completed this and I have it arranged right here. It is something you can do. If you look at what we have done right here, it is the same exact thing. So the only choice we made is the choice of chart. So we chose a different chart. So if I click on it, this is the chart we're actually using. So we are using this particular stacked bar chart while we are using donut chart on this one. So if I click on this particular part right now, so you can see on my x-axis, we have the user percentage, and on the same x-axis beneath it, we have the R user, which is actually the remainder of the percentage when we actually convert it to 100%. So this is what we have done. So the same thing we have done there is what we have done on this particular first one right here. If I go ahead and click over here, and now you can see the x-axis has the reseller percentage and the remainder of the percentage out of 100. So that is exactly what we have done. You need to understand this. So the remaining part is just like what we have right here, the seller, revenue, and as well the user revenue with the percentage that are some kind of peculiar to either of them. Okay, now that we have done that, the next thing is actually looking at this particular blank space right here. What are we going to have right here? Let us take a look at it. Okay, if you look at this particular part right now, we have this particular kind of map, which is not a default map inside Power BI. So I'm going to show you how to create it. I can actually click over here and filter my map to a particular location. Now we have Canada and it shows up right here. So if I choose a different location right now, United Kingdom, that will definitely show up on my dashboard. And look at all this particular part right here is equals to what we have done right here, which is very simple. And I'm going to show you how to actually recycle through the previous measure you have written in order not to waste your time. Okay, I can decide to change from map to a chart, which will still give us the same thing. But this time around, we are looking at the country on a normal chart, not as what? Not as a map. So how do you do something like this? Let's get it. All right, the very first thing I'm going to do is to actually insert here a table. And in this table, I am going to bring in my location. So first of all, let us go to this measure. What the heck is it? So this particular measure, I'm going to bring in total revenue into it. So we have the total revenue right here. So quickly, we close and we go to our customer table and we bring in the country into it. So we have this particular country right here. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually get this one duplicated into two. So Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste it. I'm going to move one right here. And on this particular one, we want to create our map with it. So let us look at the default map we have available inside Power BI. So we have this particular kind of map that would look definitely ugly when we try to use it. That doesn't mean our map would not plot, but unfortunately, we cannot design this map to look beautiful, and specifically, this map will go off our background if we are not using the same background that matches the map. No matter how you try to actually choose different one, go to the settings here, you can see the different map we have. We have the dark version. So we're not looking forward to use a dark color for our background. So even though if we try to go for the light version here, that still looks a little bit weird, and even this one. So what do? Let us convert this particular map from this type of map to this type of map and take a look at what we have. So now we have something like this, still looking not too good right away. So we need to actually do something about it. So what if I go ahead and choose this very one right here? So now we have this one who gives us this particular part right here, and now it's showing United States. So all we have to do is to click over here under what? We click over under map settings. So we go to this particular custom. So when we click on custom, we are going to see this particular part right here where it says add a map type. Okay, that is where things would definitely get interesting. So I'm going to go over here. I have this particular link. So you're going to have it downloaded as well. So get it downloaded, and or go to my comment section. I'm going to paste the link there, or I'm going to paste the link either in the comment section or in the description box. So go ahead and actually get the link. Then let's go to the browser. So we are right here on the browser. I'm going to paste in the link right in here and hit my enter key to let's go. So now we are here. It's actually a GitHub. So we can scroll all the way down. Once we scroll down right into this particular part, we're going to see where it says file reference. So go ahead and actually download this particular countries, 110m.json. So don't click like this and feel like you want to download. So it's going to give you something that looks some kind of weird. This is crazy. So there is nothing we can do with this. So what do? Let's go back. And we go back to the same place. So we make sure we are here. So to get this downloaded right now, all you have to do is to right click and go to save link as. So once you do that, let's wait for it. Now, here we go. We have to actually get a particular place we want to actually put it right in. So I'm going to actually still use this particular name. So just go ahead and save it inside your download file. So now it has been downloaded successfully. Look at it right here. So let us quickly go back to here. So now we are here. I'm going to click on browse. From browse now, I can actually go to download and let us look for it. Here we go. This is exactly what we have actually gotten downloaded. So if I click on open right now, we have our map here. So we can customize this map anyhow we like. So to customize the map we have brought in here right now, let's go over here and actually go to this particular place. Maybe this one first. So this is how this one looks, but I don't like this. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. So what if I go over to choose this particular last one here, and that gives us this particular kind of view, but unfortunately we cannot click and actually zoom, but we can use it to filter our data like this. So it works filtering our data. Unfortunately, it does not zoom. So to make sure it zooms, what you are going to do is to go over to where you have zoom right here and turn the auto zoom right on. So now if I click over here, still not zooming the way I want it. What if I actually click on zoom on selection here? I'm just going to click on it, then click over here. Now it zooms the location you have just selected. This is absolutely beautiful. So what about this? Very interesting, right? So you click and it's going to take you back to where you left. Okay, now once we have gotten this done, the next thing right now is turn up the title, and that is all you need to do. So our map is complete. We need to get the chart version. So click over here and just go and use this particular clustered bar chart. Then we have something like this. So if you look at it, it looks a bit off. So what I'm going to do right now, I will move this right here and place it above this particular one for the time being. Then let's go all over to this particular part and turn up the title. Good. So for the y-axis, we need to actually go down and turn off the title as well. So that actually turns off the title for us. So if you look at the y-axis, the United Kingdom is not showing very well. So we want to make sure this shows well. So I'm going to actually put at the maximum 50. And that reveals the remaining part of it for me. Beautiful, huh? So we go over to the X. So when we get down to the X-axis, we need to turn off everything, both the title and the value. So this is what we have. Different colors, right? Don't worry. we're going to actually spice things up in no time. So this is what we need to do. And the next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we turn on the data label for it. So what if I select this one and go over here and use it over this particular one? Beautiful, right? So what happens here is that it turns off the background for me. That was why we have something like this. I'm going to click on this one as well. And let's go over to turning off the background. Select and turn off the background. So we're here. So we need to go ahead and turn off the background as well. So that is beautiful. So now we have those two. The next thing we want to do is to switch between this and this. So how do we make the end user to get this done? Okay, let's go ahead and create a bookmark between these two right here, my map and the chart itself. So what I'm going to do now is to actually make sure I can bring this one down or up rather, and hold my control key to select this one. And I will go all the way to this particular part right here. I'll click on align, and I'm going to align bottom like this. So they are equally aligned. So I can actually move them at this spot if I really want to do that. Now I have actually moved them right now. So let me return them back to where they belong. So after doing this, the next thing now is to create a bookmark. So go over here under this particular plus. Then if I scroll down, you can see here we have bookmark and we have selection. So I have them turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this particular plus and have this that particular one hidden. So go over to selection here. Under selection, you can see if I turn off those particular two, they're actually going to be hidden. So now they are hidden. If I click back on it now, what is up right now is my chart. So my chart is renamed to chart country. Rename your chart to whatever you think you can actually remember. And my map is named to map. You can do map country to remember it. So once you have done that, let's turn both of them on. So I can hold my control key to select both of them and right click right here to group them inside a single group. So double click on the group and actually say country. Let's do country chart. So country chart, and if I turn on the country chart now, because they are grouped, so they are going to actually be hidden. And if I bring back this, you have it right here. Okay, now if I open it up, you see the two charts inside here, the map and the chart itself. So once we are done doing this, the next thing we're going to do right now is to go over to this particular part where it says bookmark. First of all, we have created this in the previous video where we have close and open. So before we move further, please go ahead and hit the like button, and as well, do me a favor to actually subscribe to this channel. All right, so now go ahead and click on add. So you have a bookmark here. I'm going to name this bookmark a map. So let us name this bookmark a map. Okay, let us name this bookmark a map. So I will name it map. So once I've done that, I'm going to click over here and go to this data, uncheck the data. Let's go over here, uncheck current page, and go over here and check the selected visual. So now you have display and selected visual checked. So once you have done that, don't do nothing, just go over and click on add again. And this time around, we're going to name this one after our chart. So we just name it chart. That is it, map and chart. So over here, we do the same thing. Just uncheck this and go over here and uncheck the current page. And lastly, we just make sure we select the selected visual. And if we open it up, we have the same exact thing done right here. Okay, once we have done this, the next thing we're going to do right now is to okay, what do we do next? So let's go over here and show you something. I'm going to go to insert, and from insert, I'm going to click on this particular part where it says buttons. So from buttons, scroll all the way down to where you have navigator. And now we use this particular bookmark navigator right here. So under bookmark navigator, as you can see, we have close, open, map, and chart. So what we want to see is just the map and chart. So how do we go ahead and actually do this? It's difficult, right? It's not that difficult. So let me show you. So over here, we just select this particular map and select this particular one. So both of them are selected together. You right click and you place them inside the same group. So once you have actually created a group for them, I can select the group and name it country. Now, you don't have to do any other thing. So we are about to show just this and this. So, and hide these two right here. So to do that, click over to your format, and from format, go to bookmarks and scroll all the way down. Now you have this one here. Instead of you seeing all, if I click on all now, nothing happens. So make sure you turn on allow the selection. So click over here. And now you have something like this. The next thing right now is to actually click and select the folder. Was it folder? I'm sorry, not folder, the group, country. Okay, look at it. We now have just the country, the map, and the chart right in here. Okay, I am going to leave it like this, but right now the functionality is not actually working. So it's doing nothing right here. It can't change anything here. So we want to make it to change whatever we have clicked on. If we click on map, we want to see map alone. And if we click on chart, what we want to see is just chart. Then the map should be hidden. All right, to do that, let's go over to this particular bookmark here. So, oh, sorry, was it bookmark? No, the selection part right here. So we're on the selection part. So we don't forget that we have this particular part. If I now go ahead and do this, my buttons are hidden because they are bookmark navigator that I just added from this particular button. So if I bring them back on, they will actually show up again. So what I'm going to do now is to actually make sure this country chart is open. So once it is open, I'm going to hide my map. And what I'm showing now currently is actually just my country by chart. So I'm going to go ahead and actually select the group that actually band them together, right? So this particular country chart has map and chart country in it. So I'll hold my control key to select the bookmark navigator. So you can see both of the group are being selected. Once we have done that, just watch. So what we're going to actually give this action to right now is actually chart. Let's go over here. Please do not click on it. Otherwise, it will destroy everything. Open this up. Don't click here. Instead, just click on these three dots. Do not allow yourself to highlight this. Otherwise, it will not work. So over the three dots, just click on update. That is all you need to do, right? You can see it has switched to chart because we updated chart. Let's go back to our bookmark, our selection rather, here. And now we turn on map and we turn off our country chart and make sure this and this are some kind of selected. Let's go back to our bookmark now. And over the map, the three dots is what you should target. Go ahead and actually click on update. And that is all you need to do. If I now click over here, you can see it's actually switching for me. This is what you need to do to actually have something like this achieved. So once we have done that, we are expecting to actually have it work on this. So hold your control key and do this automatically. You can see the switch has been done 100% for us. So what about this? Very interesting, right? So beautiful. So it is time for we to actually walk around with this particular one to look like something like this, right? So remember, you can actually play with this and make sure you turn it to anything you really like, the selection, everything, but that will be done when we actually start creating our, our design. Right now, we're just trying to actually bring something on our report view, charts and all necessary titles not designed yet. The next part we're going to create right now for revenue by country is something that look exactly like this. So for the first time, I'll do Control C and Control V to paste it, and I can actually move the pasted one away from here. So we are copying this, copy, paste, and we move this over here. So don't worry if you see it cover any place. That was because we have a background on it. So we're going to fix that later, right? So now what we're going to do right now is to create a measure for this and measure for this. We don't have to do that from the scratch. So all we have to do is to go over here and let us track the measure. I told you, when you place every single measure you've created inside a folder, definitely it will help you to actually locate the measure you're looking forward to seeing. Okay, now I'm going to close everything right from here. Then let's go over here and So those are the ones we are going to use. So now what we're looking for is actually our title measure. So if I click on my title measure and have it opened right now, you have top age percentage. Here we go. This is what we've created for that. We have this particular top 2 age group name here. So let's start from here. I'm going to do Ctrl C, and right here, let's go over. Should I place it over here? Or still, let's place it outside of it. So over here, I'm going to click on this particular table name, right click, and create a new measure. All right, our new measure is here. So we're going to paste in what we have copied into this particular measure. So we have it pasted. So what do we change from here? Instead of us looking at age group here, we are supposed to be looking at country. So country. Why is country not here? Let's do Ctrl Z to bring it back. So customer table. So age group. So let's take age group away. And okay, let's do this. Let's start it from the top here. So now we are going to use this as country. So over here, we take this part off. So we go to country. That is all. So when we come down here now, we can now remove this and the country appears here. So you must start it from here, otherwise it will not fill it. So go over and take this off and we bring in the country here, and every other thing here should look like this. Go ahead and hit your enter key and that will definitely give you exactly what we have before, right? So let's see what is the measure name. The measure name is top 2 country. So that is it. Let's scroll down. We have another one, which is the percentage we have right here. So just go ahead and actually copy this and let's go over to this particular new measure. So with this new measure, we just paste in the measure we have copied. So let's paste it here. All we have to change on this one is this particular part. So we go to country. That is all. We hit the enter key. Oh no, sorry. So we need to actually change the measure name to match. So hit the enter key. Why using country group? Wherever, don't worry, it's not a problem. You can change it if you want to. So now we have both of them. So what we're going to do right now is to step out from here and use those particular one we have actually created. So we are here. I'm going to click on this one. So once this pops up, I will locate this particular part. I will just deselect this one. So now it should give me country. So here I have my country. It's going to give me the percentage. So here's the country. So not the percentage, sorry. We're not using the country yet. We are using the percentage. We're using the percentage. This is just the top 2. So we are supposed to use the percentage version of it. So we use the percentage top 2 country. So we don't expect to see the name. We are looking for the percentage. Why is it not coming up? Okay. It has group. That was my mistake. Sorry, my bad. So now we should see a percentage popped up here. Not yet. Top 2 customer. What is wrong? Let's find out. So it is named percentage country group. Oh, sorry. So percentage country group. So you want to make sure you use the right name. So over here, I'm going to click on this and it has it updated for me, but unfortunately it is not on percentage. We just have to go ahead and click on this one and make sure we just remove this particular group from here, hit the enter key to make it simple. So simplicity is everything. It will be very easy for you to reference it. So now we need to change this to a percentage and remove the extra decimal places we have on it if we don't actually want it. So now, as you can see, this is what we actually have. So over here, let's click on it. So I'm gonna move this off. So if I type country into it, I should have something like this and click on OK. That updates this particular part for me. Perfectly done, right? This is exactly what we are looking forward to seeing. So, and I'm going to tell you firsthand that we are actually done with all the measures and all the charts we should have right here. Everything 100%, like 100% complete. So it is time for we to create our background, bring it over here and make sure we make it as clean as what we have seen as the finished product previously. All right, go to your Windows and click on the Windows icon, and you're going to see this particular snippet tools. So once you have it, just go ahead and click on New and make sure you select from this particular part right here down to this very part here. Do not extend it beyond here. So release it and go ahead and say File, Save As. So we're going to save this somewhere. So let me save it to desktop as capture. So we go ahead and click on OK. So we can now hide this. So previously in the other video, we have created this. So you want to take a look at how we did this. I think is very important to you. So you need to actually watch the I think the second video or the first video to look at how we got this one created. But right now we're about to create a new version. I'm going to click on this one. This is the second one, right? So on this second one now, we need to click on this very one here. So for this part, we don't need to include it. I'm going to take it off, right? So once I have done that, I will definitely go ahead and invent what we have in here. So click on insert and let's go over to this particular part right here. Oh, sorry. Let's go over to screenshot. And for the screenshot, we are looking for this one here, and we have brought in the screenshot. It looks very huge on this, right? So I'm going to place it over here and just go ahead and resize it to cover. So this is what we want. So once we have something like this, I can actually do send to back. So with send to back, this is what I have right now. So if I have something like this, so what I'll be doing, oh, sorry, the screenshot is not this. This is not the screenshot we're looking forward to seeing. So let's go back to insert and click on picture, this device. So we're going to bring up our original screenshot. So go to here and click on this one. So nicely done. So we have the one we are looking for here. So we can resize it to cover up down to here. So once we've done that, right click and go to send to back, and we have something like this. Okay. So when we have something like this, the very first thing I'm going to do now is to actually go ahead and click on this particular part, then just to resize it to actually fill it up to this level here. And I would love to actually move things up a little bit, I presume. So let's just move things up a little bit, just like this. So once we have done that, so over here, so I'm going to do something like this. Something like this. And on this one here, I can make it a bit, let's do something like this. Would be cool. So over here, I'm gonna just do something like this. This is the space I want to have. So I'm gonna select this one, select this one, select this one here, go over here. I will go to align, and I'm gonna align this, justify this vertically. So I'm gonna have equal space in between here and here. So once we have done that, the next thing right now is for me to actually get this one, duplicate it, and bring it over to this particular part. So just to reduce this, and we want to see something like this. Okay, nicely done, right? So once we have something like this, we want to make sure this is good. So on this particular part here, so if you look at it, we just want to have something like this. And over here is cool. Then over here, we just do Ctrl D and move this up. Move this up. Let's go with something like this. Something like this would be cool. So over here, let's do this. So I'm going to come here and bring this down a little bit because I want to have something as this, right? So once we are cool with this, this particular part is too rounded. I will just reduce it a bit. Click on this particular one and take this to make it lower. So do the same thing right here. The curveness shouldn't be too pretty much. So we are going to have something just like this. So with this now, I can just go ahead and click on this one and take it off. So we have something like this. You can see it's not looking beautiful, but you'll be like, how did you do this? I can't take this from the scratch because I have a video that covered this. So I want to have a little design on this. What I'm going to do now is to go over to insert and go over to this particular icon here and wait for it. It's loading. So we have our icon here. I want to go for something like this. That design is very important. So I think that is the only design I want to have on it. I don't want to have something much. So here we go. So bring this over here like this. Ctrl D. And bring this very one over to this particular part. Okay. So right click and select format graphics. Go over to here. Click over here. Let's do something like this. And the transparency should be reduced to 90. If I'm not mistaken, 90 will be cool. So once you have done that, right click and send it to back. So here we have something like that. So we click on this particular one as well. So on this one, I'm going to actually do something different a bit. So I'll just do it this way. So let's go over and select the same thing. So we just make sure this one is a bit brighter. We can use it something. So now we right click and we send this to back. Send to back. So if I move this away now, this is going to give us something like this very effect right here. So now, once you have done this, let's go over to File and we can click on Export. So we click on this particular part to change. We can use JPEG if that is what we want. So we have the previous one here. We can just say version 2. The version 2, go ahead and save this. Just this one. So we have it. So we are back here. It is time for we to take in those two steps. So click over here now. Then let's go over to Canvas background. Click over Browse. So we take the second version. Unfortunately, we can't find it. Let's go over to Drag Dashboard. So let's go over to this very one. Now here we go. So it's there. Put it on 0%. So we have something like this. So if you look at it now, the backgrounds we have is not making it to look beautiful. So we have to make sure we clean things up before we can actually see the beauty of what we have done. So hope this helps, right? Okay, to get started, let us start with this very one. So bring it down and make sure it fills this particular aspect right here. So once you have done that, let's go over to this particular card. On our card, we want to scroll down and say the background should be turned off, and we don't want to see any border, right? The border has been turned off. That is beautiful. So we go all the way to the top and we select this particular size, and here we go. We turn off the background. We're going to have something like this. So let's turn it off. So let's go over to the colored value here. So under the colored value, this is where we change the color of the values we have right on it. So I'm going to use a bright color. So let's go with white like this. It looks sharp, right? So what about this very one? A bit calm. That is beautiful. So if we select that one, and we are cool with that, we go to the label. So if I turn off the label, it's off, and I can bring it back on. So let's go to the label and bring in this very same color over here. So now this is what we have. So I'm going to actually have to increase this, right? So increase this, or we can actually change it to the bolder version of it, and it gives us something like this. So this is what we have, but I think this is not really giving me something really cool enough. I want to change this. So let us select this particular version here that is not the bolder version. So we're going to go with this very one, but we're going to select 16 instead. So let's go with 16, and 16 looks perfectly cool. So we go all the way back to this particular part. So this one looks okay. So we're going to go with just 40. So 40 looks very perfect. That is exactly what we need to do. Okay, once we have done this, we want to create separation between two of them, between this and this two separator. So let's go over down here. We select card. From card, we scroll all the way down. We see this particular accent bar. So actually turn it on like this. So once you have it turned on, open it up, right? So instead of us to actually just say, give us automatic, border, should I call it border? I don't know. So let's go over here and go to the top, go up a little bit. So we should see a particular part where it says all. So we are not building it on all. So we are building it on this particular customer. So when we select customer, so we scroll all the way down now. So we say for customer, we want it to be at the right-hand corner. So my customer has it at the right-hand corner. First of all, I made a mistake. Let's go back to all. Where the heck is it? That place we select customer. Let's go back to all. So now we are in all. Let's scroll all the way down. So we can now turn off everything from here. So everything is being turned off. So if we now go back now, so we can say from all now, we can select the customer we wanted. Then we now go all the way down and turn this particular place on. So it's only on for this one. So we want to select our revenue, average revenue per customer. Let's go and select average revenue here, and let's go all the way down. So what we're going to select right now, turn it on, and we still select right. So now you can see we have something like this. So it is time for we to actually change the color we have right here. Let's go with this particular color, but the brightness is really much, so we can actually reduce the brightness to something that looks like this. So something like this looks very perfect. So we can increase the weight to look like 3 point or 4 point is okay. I think 4 point is okay. We're using 66. Let us use 65. So 65 right here looks perfect. So once we have done that, let's go all the way back up and change it to customer. And from customer, we scroll all the way down now, and we select the same color we have used, and we change it to 4, and we use the same 65. So 65. So nicely done, right? So perfectly, this is looking very gorgeous already. So we are done with this one for the time being. So let's come over here. This one now, we need to change its color. So let's go over to here and choose to use this one like this. Let's see what it is. Okay, this looks perfect. For this one here, I'm going to select this. So we select this very color. So quickly select this very color. And finally, we select on the header this very color. Okay, once we have done that, this looks perfect. But right now we have to bring this down a little bit. So we bring this down. So it's down and it's okay. So if you look at it, it's not really pretty looking fine now. So what we're going to do now is to make sure we change the color of our chart. That is what is mostly important. The color of our chart needs to be changed. And how do we do that? It's very simple. So for this first one here, make sure you select the chart itself. So go over to slices and click over here. Click over to this particular more colors. And over here, we're going to use ECC A7. So it will be ECC, I think it's A7 here to mix the color we want for it. This is the color we want to use right for it, right? Okay. Once we have done that, the next color we're going to use right now is a color that matches our background, which is this particular background we have right here. So let's select this particular one. Click over here. And over here, we are going to use 694979. So 69497. Oh, sorry. 649479. Oh, that is not it. Okay, let's try. I think I'm beginning to forget this. So let's do 69497. Okay, nicely done. So we have something like this, right? So once we have something like this, we quickly click over the second one here and we fill in the same color for this particular one, which is this very color right here, and it matches my background right in here. So we do the same thing to this particular part. We fill in the color for it, which is this very one. But now the next thing is for we to change this color we have right on this to actually look beautiful and different from the other. So I'm going to select it and let's go with this very color. So this looks perfect. Let's select something brighter. So this looks perfect. On this one, we are going to change the color that will definitely match what we have on the dashboard. Okay, what color do you guess we could actually use for order? So for order, let's change the color to something like this. No, this very one. So click over here. So now we're going to do FCA. So FCA and OE. I think let's do 0 FCA 0E0 like this. This color will be looking very pretty. Okay, once we have done this now, the next thing is for you to click inside here and go over to call out value. Then we select over here. We actually choose this very color to match it. So we select this particular one. We choose the color that will match what we have there. So finally, we select this one and we choose the color that will definitely match the chart itself. This is what we have. The next thing is for we to still match the same color with this very one and the same color to match this very one. So we are going to shift this one to be in the middle of it. So finally, we do something like this right here. So if you look at it, it's taking shape and our dashboard is becoming something very pretty. Okay, once we have done that, I think we are almost done with this particular part right now. So I can actually make a little adjustment after all, just because this seems to look a little bit closed. So we want to actually make sure we clean it up a little bit to make sure there is a gap here. Right now, there is no gap at all. So what I'm going to do now quickly, I'll go back to here. I'm here. I am going to bring this down, then come over here. I'll bring this to go close to it. Something like this would be very much beautiful. So just go over to File, just click on Export. Right now, click over here, select the same extension, JPEG. So once you have done that, make sure you replace this very one. Click on Save and Yes, and you click on just this one. Now let's go back. We are here again. So select No Chart. And over here, you see this very one. Let's go back and pick it again. So this time around, you can see how it is sitting. It looks beautiful. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move it down so that this one will just come down a little bit. So I'll just highlight here like this. So I'll use my arrow down to move things just like this. Let us step off from it. So now can you see it? It is looking cool a bit. So now we just need to actually work with this one. Take it up. Okay. Something like this looks fine. So on this one here, we just want to make sure it's actually like this here. So what about this? This looks very, very awesome. Okay, let us touch this particular one. The very first thing I'm going to do is to click on it and go over here and turn off the background we have right on it. The background is being turned off, right? So once we have done that, so quickly, I will just make sure I bring this down a little bit. So now on the chart itself, let's see what we can do to make the chart look somehow cool. So the chart has data label, but unfortunately, the data label does not have a color on it. So it has black. The color we have is not showing up. We click on value, scroll down, we go over here, we just select this one. Okay, we have something like this. You can just go ahead and crank it up a little bit to look more like this. Or let's select this very one here. So can we increase this one? No, why don't we go with the previous one? Let's scroll all the way down. So bring it down. So I don't want something that looks some kind of... Okay, this looks cool. And I'm going to adopt this same thing for others. So quickly click on this one here. And let's do the same thing. Oh, double click on this one because we have to, as they are grouped together. So once you double click on it, it will activate this particular one for you. So we can scroll down, scroll all the way down. So go to value. Once we get to value here, so we change it to this particular one right here. And we change the color to match this particular color we have right here. And that reflects the value for us, right? So we have that done. So now we come over to this particular part here. Let's do Ctrl A, and over here we do something like this. So can you see it now? So once we have done that, we have a title here. On this particular title, we select it. We are going to select the brighter version of that. So here we go. We have this. So once we have this now, we can select this area and just bring this down like this. Here we go. So I want this one to be brighter. Let's do it again. Do this one. Okay, what about this? This looks pretty nice. So let's select this particular part here. So once we've done that, click on this particular format printer. So unfortunately, it takes off the background, but for the title, it's not. So I'm going to select this very one first. Let's go with this one. So let's see, we are using 18. What if I put it at 16? 16 look pretty nice. So we're going to use 16. So over here, I select this. And I turn this one to 16 to reduce this. 16 looks perfectly okay. And I select over here, I choose to use this very one. So once I've done that, I want to make sure this one, give me something brighter. I will just do the higher version of it. So we do the same thing over here. We select here and we do this. So if we step off right now, we are going to see something like this. So quickly on this particular one, we just go ahead and do this, and we select this very one here, and here we have it. This is what we have right in here. So it is time for me to walk around with this particular one. I'm going to bring it over to this particular part right here. So once we have it right here right now, we want to make sure this is actually some kind of giving us the same color as the chart itself. But for the chart right here, we want to change the color of our chart to look a bit different from this. But if we want something like this, it's not bad, it's fine. But before we touch anything here, let's work with this one. So over here, I'm going to do this. So let's just move it up to go closer. All right, I have this. It's not really perfect because I have limited time to do this. Just to make sure I don't waste your time, you can actually do better than this in case you need to. Okay, because I actually do copy. If you look at what happened here right now, this copying this using this particular one has actually changed what I have here, and it's matching this particular one. This is something weird. So quickly click over here and change this particular percentage to the rightful one. So let us move this one and put up our customer here, customer country, fix it in, and go ahead and click on save. And that updates, oh, customer country. Okay, let's go by customer country. So I'm going to change this particular part right here. So I will do customer country made up of, so made up of right now. So I'll come over here and change this particular part. So click over here. So now we're going to do percentage. So let us take this off. We're doing percentage top to customer. Percentage top to customer. Why isn't it showing up? So let us open it up right here and take a look at what we have. Okay, percentage country. Country is what we have. So it's not showing up because it cannot find customer in the measure. Percentage country. So here we go. We have it. So over here, I'm going to put revenue share. Okay, Canada and Australia made up of 65.96% revenue share. So something like this looks cool. So now all I have to do is to select this area and have it bold, then go over here and select this particular version of it here, and it still look very pretty like this. So I just want to do something like this. So now you have to just think outside the box when things just got messed up. You get it? As you can see, we have made a lot of change to our dashboard. So what I did here, if you want to change this particular color here, just click on it and scroll all the way down. So once you scroll down like this, you're going to find this particular part here where you have the color right in. So what it will give you at default is actually all. Then you have to be specific on which color you want to change. Go over here and say you want to change color for the user. You can see the color I've selected for the user, which is the percentage that is peculiar to just the user. And for the remaining percentage, you click on this one and you give it the color you want to give to it. And you have something like this. That was what we have done right here. Okay, right now, what we're going to do is just to go to the map, right? So the map came up with a default color. So I'm going to double click on the map to actually, remove it from the combination of the main chart. So once I have done that, I'm going to see something like this. So default, we have this kind of color here. So we can actually add another layer of color. So I'll click over here for gradient and I'll have something like this. So we can actually customize what we see. But right now, I don't want to have these three colors. So what if I just go ahead and turn this very one off? So now for the maximum, all I want to do is to go over to this particular color for the maximum. That is, oh, sorry, I chose it for the minimum. So for the minimum, let's go over to something that looks like this for the minimum, and the maximum will choose this particular very color right here. So this is exactly what it is. It blends with our dashboard a lot. So this color is found here on our dashboard, and this particular color as well is found. So we can actually use this. So the next thing is actually this particular color here. So if we scroll down now, we have the blank. And if I turn off the blank now, those are the areas where we do not have customers from. So if I go ahead and turn it back on, we have it, and we can play around with the color and choose a brighter color that looks like this. So what if I use something like this? I think it make a lot of sense than the previous one. Okay, we are done with this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is that what if I select this right away and I have to like start guessing like which particular country is this until I hover over it. So immediately I click, I want to see something that pops out and tell me what country we have just some kind of zoomed to. So how do we do that? Just a single line of code would actually help us do that. All right, try to understand what this is. What is the dimension we used here is actually the country. So we go over to where we have our measure rating. I'm going to click over here. So under the calculations, and I will right click and create new measure. So with my new measure now, we want to tell the measure that, you know what, whenever there's a click, so whatever is actually clicked on, you should actually reveal it. And that is what we are about to do. Okay, just use this particular time to hit the like button for me if you have not done that, and as well the subscribe button is your friend if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to leave a comment. So let's do it. So on over here, I'm gonna say active country. So active country map. All right. So what I'm gonna do is just to say selected value. Selected value. I'll use country. I'll just go ahead and hit my enter key. This one is crazy. Anybody will know that we're going to have an error once there is no selection. So we're going to deal with it. But before then, let us look at what we have. So I'm going to pick it up here. So right now we have blank. We don't want to see blank. So I want to actually quickly format this very blank here. No problem. Don't give me this over here. I want to put it at some kind of, let's go with 16 is cool. Now let's go with 20. 20 should be cool. So 20 is cool. I will just do something like this. Okay, it's gonna be here now. So I do not want to see anything if there is nothing that has been selected, but let us try it and see what happens if we have made a selection. So if I actually select something right here, right now, I selected Canada, and Canada should come up. So this is exactly what we want. But unfortunately, when we actually deselect Canada from view, we start having this particular blank right on it. So we want to take off the blanks and totally show nothing. So let's go over here. And now we click over active country map. Then we are going to come here and say, if this whole is equals to blank like this, then give us blank. So use this particular kind of blank here. Don't use this very blank because this is not going to return blank for you. So otherwise, you do a comma, we can copy this particular part of the code and replace it with this very one here, which is otherwise. Go ahead and hit enter key. This time around, we should actually found nothing displayed as blank here. Let's see what we have. Now it's gone. This is what you need to do to actually get this done. So once this is gone, I'm going to go over to here, then click over here. And now let's turn this off. Right. Let's turn that off. I would actually go ahead and select. Now I have it here, but unfortunately it's not actually giving me the nice color I'm looking forward to seeing. So I'm going to select it. So if I have it selected, I will actually put it over somewhere around here. Doesn't really matter. So I'll go over to my color, callout, and let's select a bright color for it. So I'm going to go with this, which shows me Canada, right? So once I actually deselect it, so it's gone, I'm going to select this particular place now. And if I do the selection, so it's going to actually take me here and it will give me the name of the area I've selected. Hovering over it, I have this tooltip, and hovering over here as well, I have this very tooltip, but this is not a tooltip we want to have right on it. So we want to actually create our own custom tooltip, which is very, very important for us to do. So I think that is very, very important. We're going to be doing that in the next video. Right now, let's just focus on the header right here. And before then, let's go over to here. So we don't need to do a lot of things from the scratch. So we can copy this particular part right here and reuse it because it is something I believe you can do. So I shouldn't waste much of your time. I'm just going to do Ctrl C to copy, and we go over here and just Ctrl V to paste it right in here. So we have it right. So what I'm going to do now is just to go over and bring this one in a little bit like this. Our chart is taking shape. Our whole dashboard rather is taking shape actually. So we can actually switch to this particular one, and beautiful, we have a chart. So every single time I have this particular chart, nobody can tell which one is being selected. So I'm going to select this one now and go over here to shape. Was it shape? Not shape. Not shape. That is going to be style here. So we are on style. At default, we have this, right? At default, we go down to fill. If I turn off the fill, nothing shows up at all. So at default, what we want to have as color should be this particular color right here at default, which is what is not being selected. So now if we go back here, at default for the color of the text, we want to have this very bright white color. So then we go back up. Instead of we choosing default right now, this time around, we want to go for selected. So what is being selected, we want to have the color to be changed. Then we go over to fill color right here, and we match the color to this one if need be. So I think we have the opposite color here. So something like this, it matches this. So once we have done that, we can go back up and choose the font we want to use for it. So instead of white now, we are going to choose something that looks darker, that can show up very well. You understand? So we can put it on bold. That is exactly what we have. So on hover is giving us some kind of weird color. So on hover, we want to go over to the top. Oh, sorry, on hover. Yeah, sure. Select on hover here. Then our on hover should have a very nice background, not white. So let's do something like this when we hover over it. So if I hover over here now, I have something like this. And if I click on it, it should actually go ahead and give me map, and my map switches to this particular one. This is exactly what you can actually do to beautify your dashboard. So what about this? Quickly, I've shown you this. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to actually add a slicer here. And the slicer I'm going to add right now is nothing but a slicer of month. So go over here and let's close here. Let's go to our date table, which is the calendar, and bring up our month right in here. So we bring up our month. So our month is here. I want to go ahead and choose a slicer. So let's go with this one. This slicer should be the old version of slicer, not the newer version. So we choose the slicer here. So once we have the slicer in, we can go to the slicer settings, and we go over and make sure this one here that says header here, open it up and type in filter by month. Filter by month. Once we have done that, that looks cool. We change the color. Then let's go with this particular color, and we want to make it italic. That is our choice. Then the next thing is actually the value we have right on it. So we want to change the color. Click on the value. Let's scroll down. We have a background here. Let's scroll down here. We can choose the background we want to have on it. This is the background we want to have on it. So with the background now, the value wouldn't look cool. We choose white for it. And this is what we have right now. Okay. Okay. If we have something like this, the next thing we're going to do is to go over to slicer settings and choose the drop down. Then once we have done that, we can click on size and style and turn off the background. Then we have something like this. Okay, if this seems not to actually look cool, because to me right now, it's not looking very pretty nice on this. I want to select this particular same color, but it's going to be difficult for me to pick this exact color. This is what I will do. So I'm here at PowerPoint. I'll click on the background itself. So here is the color we have used over there. So I'm going to actually go over to shape, format, come over here, click over here and choose more colors. I'm going to pick up this particular color from here. You can see the color code, you can type it up. So let's go over here now, select this one, and let's go ahead and change the background. The value over here. So we paste it in here. So now this is what we have. So for the border, we can say we want border or we don't want border. Right on it is our choice. So we can change the color of the border to match this very one. I think unfortunately there is no border at all on it. So we have something that looks like this. We can just bring it down a little bit. So this is what we have. So if there is anything you find not here yet, do not worry. Everything will come and actually give you the nice view you're looking for, just like the previous one we have seen. But right away, we have actually created this up to standard. So just take your time to actually do this formatting on your own personal dashboard, and I believe you're going to have something as beautiful as this. So in case you have not some kind of hit the subscribe button up to now, is your choice to do that, because that will definitely help my channel to grow. And if you have not liked, just go ahead and hit the like button. If you can share to your friends and family or your coworkers, that is going to be something very great. Please do that. Thanks for watching.